TA.
This the Carousel, the host Al Flemings. Came to lock the game like my name Val Demings. Fantasy and flavor,
Yeah.
new addition. The intro to the show is brought by True Ambition. Round and round we go, shouts out to Eric Wilson. Knowledge for your wins, all you gotta do is listen. Hungry for info, food for thought, got all your fixing. You know, FOO, value facts over opinion. 4-3-3-4, my defense beats our system. Injury report, winning while I'm grinning. Dominate the point of attack from the line of scrimmage. For long as you can't beat my squad, go gather all your minions. Carousel,
Yeah.
Carousel,
Yeah.
Carousel, this the Carousel. On or you're off, either you're on or you're off, either you're on or you're off.
What?
Knock 'em out.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to season 2 of the NFL Carousel. Copywritten, so don't copy me. Week 1, we were in Tampa. Week 2, it's time to get the show on the road, but we're doing something different. People are going to step out of their comfort zone, and they're going to have to defend the team that they're facing this week. So regular fans of their team are going to be talking about their team instead of defending them. Don't know what I'm talking about? Let's get this show on the road. I do believe we have a matchup of the Chargers versus the Cowboys, but the Cowboys are on the road. So if my producer could, please enter in Michael Carratanudo and JB Ellis. New edition of Michael Carratanudo, Believe in the Pac-12, and of course, Sideline Sports' own JB Ellis. Now, you guys already know the rules, but here's the switch up. Mike, you'll be defending the Chargers. JB, you'll be defending the Cowboys. Cowboys are on the road. The road team goes first. JB, show them how it's done.
So we got Jerry's World down in Dallas, but now we're going to Jerry Land out in LA because without Jerry, there was no stadium out there. Dak, he had a great game last week. He's going to come out throwing. Zeke's going to get right this week. They're going to hand him the ball. He had some trouble against that front last week. The Chargers had trouble stopping the run when they played Washington. Their defense didn't have to face much of a pass game in Washington. They threw the ball 21 times. Washington against the Chargers last week. Dak threw the ball 21 times probably in the first half, so they're not going to have much trouble throwing the ball. That offense is pretty top-notch right now with CD and Cooper. And then you got Zeke once he gets started. Now, defensively, it's a little bit more of a challenge, but they're not going to have the challenge they had last week, although Herbert's really well. And make them play in the middle is going to help them step up. I think that Dallas is going to do pretty well this game. I think it's going to be a close game, but Dallas pulls it out.
Wow. Well, I definitely have to say the Austin Eckler's got to touch the ball more for the Chargers. I mean, Justin Herbert got better every week last year. It looked like it'd take him a minute to get going against Washington's defense, although I think it's going to take a lot of teams a minute or two to get going against that Washington defense. Washington did only pass for 135 yards. So, I mean, secondary-wise and with Fitzpatrick going down and then Heineke taking over late, or taking over in the game, not getting a lot of snaps in the week. But I look for the Chargers defense. I mean, again, if you're saying Zeke's going to get right, well, Zeke has to be able to run the ball. And if all they're going to do is try and throw on this Chargers defense, Zeke's going to have to run. I think Austin Eckler, to that point, though, has to be a bigger part, too, of the Chargers offense. I mean, a lot of teams, and to me, not the Chargers, they have the offensive line now that can push people around. The injuries, obviously, DeMarcus Lawrence out. You'd mentioned he broke his foot. He's out at least till November. Randy Gregory, who's their second best pass rusher with Lawrence down, is still in COVID protocol. So offensively, it sets up really, really nice for the Chargers. And yes, it is a Jerry World a little bit more west because we know he was a big reason why the Rams ended up back in LA, and then obviously Stan Kroenke with that money building that cathedral out there. But for the game, I mean, the Chargers, I see Eckler running the ball a lot. I mean, the Cowboys, again, they want to keep Dak off the field as they should. Yes, I mean, he did torch the Bucs secondary, and if he throws it 58 times by rule of numbers, could probably do that to the Chargers. But I think Austin Eckler has the ball. I think it's a close game, and I would say it might come down to a last-minute kick between the teams, and if Zerline has to hit anything over 35, I'm pretty sure Chargers fans will be happy that it might go wide left. So I think man, I say the Chargers win on a late field goal.
Where is the trash talk at? I mean, we all know the rules, guys. We're all being all powder puff. JD, trash these sorry old Chargers, bro.
It's hard to trash. It's hard to trash these teams.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when it comes down to it, the Chargers are going to do what they do best. They pulled out a close game last week, but between them and Detroit, they have a way to lose close games. I don't think the culture of the team has changed yet. They're going to do well this year, but how about them boys are going to win 35-32? A close game. Dak's going to have a good day. Zeke's going to get right and eat the ball. And when it's all said and done, Chargers 35-32.
Chargers or Cowboys?
Cowboys, my bad.
Wow. Well, within your trash talking of the Cowboys, who I have an affinity for, I can see it being 35-32. I just if I'm going to trash talk the Cowboys, I'm going to say Kellen Moore you have to give the ball to Zeke more, than 10, 11 times. I mean, look, the teams that stop the run, you still have to run the ball. But with what Austin Eckler does and the Chargers do, and again, I'm a huge Justin Herbert guy, so it's hard to trash talk that kid. But yeah, with that defense, I mean, I could see it being like 45-42 because if Gregory doesn't play and how terrible Brown is at the other corner, Trayvon Diggs looked good last week, but it'll be a fun game. But yeah, your trash talking of the Cowboys changed my mind, JB. So I'll say 45-42 Cowboys.
That was just a taste of some of the diversity that we have. JB is a Charger. Michael Carrick-Sanu is a Cowboy at heart. This is the Know Your Enemy segment. Thank you for starting us off, gentlemen. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Be good, Alex.
See ya.
All right. So, since we have so many people biting and trying to take what we've created, I've done a Know Your Enemy segment. If your team is Cleveland, you'll be defending Houston. If your team is Houston, you'll be defending Cleveland. If you know your enemy, it makes you more well-rounded when it comes to all of the NFL. Don't believe me? Let's have our brand new Cleveland representative, Matthew Wilder, who will be defending the Houston Texans and Houston's own H-Town wheelhouse, Brett Chauncey as the Cleveland Browns representative. Now, gentlemen, you know the rules. You each get a minute and 30 to state your case about why your team is going to win. Please add a little bit of salt into the wound. I do believe this game is in Houston.
No, it's in Cleveland.
It's in Cleveland. Oh, that's excellent. So that means Brett Chauncey gets to go first. Brett, show him how it's done.
All right. So you've heard names like Derek Anderson and Tim Couch, Brian Quinn, Brian Hoyer, Johnny Manziel. None of them are named Baker Mayfield. None of them had Jarvis Landry. None of them had Myles Garrett. This team with Nick Chubb spells trouble for the Houston Texans. And Tyrod, I think I'm Deshaun Watson Taylor, because the Browns are at home and they have to win game 2 because they almost won game 1 and they're hungry. And Baker Mayfield will not throw another interception. He will not throw 3 interceptions like Trevor Lawrence did to the Texans, pretending defense. Kareem Hunt, David Njoku. I mean, the list goes on. Where do I start and where do I stop? A lot of people want to say that Cleveland is where number 1 draft picks go to die. Well, Cleveland is where the number 1 team coming out of this AFC conference is going to live all season long. And they will start their winning ways against the Houston Texans this Sunday in Cleveland. And you're going to see Chubb go for 2 touchdowns. You're going to see Jarvis Landry go for 2. And Myles Garrett's going to get a sack fumble return for a touchdown and put the Texans back in their place.
You see how he didn't even need the whole time? Yeah, that's professionalism. Love the hat, by the way, Brett. Matt, You're a Cleveland representative. You're representing Houston. Do what you can.
Alrighty then. Well, the first thing I'm looking forward to is I want to see right out of the gate what's Brandon Cooks going to cook up in this game. Now, let's remember, against Jacksonville, he was a star. I mean, Pro Bowl level performance. We're talking 5 receptions, 132 yards, and he averaged 26.4 yards per reception. I'm not liking that Cleveland secondary right now if I'm going against this guy because he's going to carve them up just like Tyreek Hill did. I can promise you that. So regardless of the final score, Brandon Cooks is going to get his. You can bet on it. I also like the fact that Houston's bringing a trio of really good running backs. I really like these guys. Mark Ingram, the veteran, a lot of time with the Ravens and the Saints, all that experience. Now, granted, he only got 3.3 yards per carry last week against the Jaguars, but they love to use him right off the bat. I mean, this guy got 26 carries. They trust him. They obviously trust him. And I also like David Johnson and Philip Lindsay backing him up. I mean, how can you stop all three of these guys? It can't be done unless you have, like, obviously a top 5 running defense, which Cleveland has a really good one. It's still making its name. It's still making an identity. We're not quite sure where they're at yet. They improved last year, but against all three of these running backs, I just don't know if they can contain all three throughout the game. I also like Tyron Taylor. Very similar play style to Deshaun Watson. He can extend plays. He can throw the ball accurately. 294 passing yards. I'm sorry, 291 passing yards last week. A couple of touchdowns. So he's ready. He's ready.
This is what happens when you're prepared. We have a clock on the top side so that we can see when you're running out of time. Brett Chunky, Town Wheelhouse, representing Cleveland. Let Mr. Wilder have it. Put him to bed.
Well, I mean, it's great when you have a good storyline against a really bad AFC South team that had zero offensive line protecting Trevor Lawrence, the darling of the NFL draft. And this team has Jarvis Landry. They're going to not allow Houston to take the top off of this offense. They are going to run and gun, and it's going to be Baker Mayfield 2.0 like he's back at OU. And they're just going to absolutely dominate. Myles Garrett is not going to allow them to get to the second level. And this defense boasts another notable player in Anthony Walker, who had an excellent game last week. So the sky's the limit for this Cleveland team. I haven't even gotten to Mr. Jackson, the defensive end, or Mr. Wilson, who had an interception as a linebacker. So make it be like the old school OU defense where you don't get past the linebackers. So I think the Cleveland Browns win this game 28-13.
Matthew, you get the last word.
Okay. Well, I don't think the Texans are going to win this game. I think they're going to make one really good effort out of it. I don't think it's going to be like a 28-13 score. I do think 28-21 would be more realistic. I just think the Texans are going to score, early and often. They may slow down in the second half, but I think they're going to come out swinging. I really do. And one thing I'd be a little bit concerned about on the Browns side, do you know if you're going to have Jedrick Wills? Do you know if you're going to have Jack Conklin? If these guys aren't out there, that's going to be a problem for that Browns offensive line. They were listed on the injury report, did not participate today. So I'd be a little bit concerned about that on the other side of the coin here. I mean, that means that defensive line on Houston is going to have a really good game. If these two guys are out, they're going to put the pressure on Baker Mayfield, so they're going to force him into a lot of quick throws early and test his ability to just rifle it out there 3 seconds or less every time. I think Justin Reed's going to make an impact. They got that pick last week. I think that's going to continue. Whitney Merciless might pressure off the edge too.
Not bad. Gentlemen, thank you for stepping out of your comfort zone. Matthew, Brett, one at a time. Matthew first. Let the people know where they can find you.
All right. Well, I have a Twitter account, and I'm also on Facebook, so it's a long Twitter handle. I'll have to put it out in the show later. But yeah, I have Twitter, I have Facebook, so I'm out there. Definitely out there. I also have my own website. I have Sports Influencer. It's my own little thing. I started up a couple years ago, so I'm trying to get that going.
Awesome. I am H-Town Wheelhouse on Twitter, Instagram, and you can find my podcast, Locked on Astros, on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel and become a part of Houston Astros Nation. But I am, again, H-Town Wheelhouse. You can also find me at Stros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, where we're always positive, always Stros. Repping the H, baby.
Hey, man, thank you, Brett. This is what it means to step out of your comfort zone. Sometimes you can find light in the darkness. Like if you're a Detroit Lions fan, why would you not want to talk about the Green Bay Packers? Well, our next guest is going to be talking about the Green Bay Packers. Please enter in Detroit's own Dom.
What's up, Alex?
How you doing, brother? I know this is going to be uncomfortable for you, but know your enemy. Show me what you got. You're all solo, bro. 2.5 minutes. Speak on it.
Well, as far as the Packers go, it turns out, Sean Payton was a lot smarter than a lot of us thought. No one on earth picked the Saints to win that game, but he knew something we didn't, apparently. Aaron Rodgers in hot weather. Didn't work out. I think that it was a case of they kind of sleptwalked through the game. That offensive line is not good. Bakhtiari's out, I think, for the year. They also lost Corey Linsley to the Chargers in the offseason. They couldn't run the ball. I think they estimated that whole team. And people forget week after week after week until they get, destroyed, how good that Saints pass rush is. But as far as the Lions go, boy, this is going to be good. This is the 30-year anniversary of their last playoff win and division title. It's really sad. It's a continual cycle of the same thing year after year. We hire, Dan Campbell, the kneecap biter, but until further notice, he's the next Marty Morningweg, Rod Marinelli, Jim Schwartz, Matt Patricia. No one keeps that job for more than 3, maybe 4 years tops, and not a single one of them ever got another head coaching job ever again after that. It's so bad that our original candidate and the hot name out there was Robert Saleh. He ends up taking the Jets job. You cannot convince me that this man didn't tank his interview because he's like, do I really want to go and coach that team? Probably not. He's like, I'll take this Jets job, and if things don't work out, I'm sure there'll be a vacancy in Detroit in 3 years, unless we're going to go all the way back to the days of Wayne Fontes, our winningest and losingest coach ever. That's what we're up against. It's sad. This is where we draft generational players and waste their talent, and then they retire. Barry Sanders is the best running back I ever saw. We took the love of the game away from him, and he retired. Calvin Johnson, same thing. Matthew Stafford, lucky for him, he got out, and look what he did this week. Oh, that's Dr. Matthew Stafford, because you saw that, right? Surgical.
Dom is our resident Detroit Lions representative. He did an excellent job representing Green Bay. Next week will be back to normal, brother. I promise. Thank you for your time.
Hey, thank you.
Carousel. Yeah. Carousel. Yeah. Carousel. This the carousel. On or you're off. Either you're on or you're off. Either you're on or you're off. What? Knock 'em out. Carousel. Yeah. Carousel. Yeah. Carousel. This the carousel. On or you're off. Either you're on or you're off. Either you're on or you're off. What? Knock 'em out.
I got a case of 2 overachievers. No one picked Pittsburgh to beat Baltimore. I'm sorry, no one picked Pittsburgh to beat Buffalo. But then again, no one picked the Vegas Raiders to beat Baltimore on Monday night. Let's see how good you do when you're in the other person's shoes. Let's bring in Daniel Paquetico and Phil Jones. Thank you, gentlemen. It's Bizarro World. Daniel, you're the Raiders. Phil, you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. This game is at Heinz Field, right? 3 Rivers?
Yep.
So that means Daniel goes first.
Oh, okay.
this is very interesting. Yeah, I think the Steelers' problems right now is they can't defend the tight ends. I mean, the past few years, tight ends have been running over the Steelers. A lot of linebacking core hasn't been superb enough to defend tight ends, and Darren Waller has shown he could be the best tight end in all of football. If we're talking right now, he's not even a tight end. He's like a prototypical wide receiver. He's just a big body receiver playing tight end and can play anywhere outside, inside, slot. And that shows that the Steelers can they hold up someone like Darren Waller when they face the Steelers. I mean, they have Joe Schobert and Devin Bush. Sure, they have those two linebackers, but Darren Waller isn't staying inside all game. He's not staying outside all game as well. So he can move around, shift around, and produce at a very high level. And I don't think the Steelers can stop someone they like that. And even though Josh Jacobs has been hurt and might not be playing again this week, and Richie Incognito's hurt again, I think the Steelers don't have enough abilities to go and fight it offensively against Max Crosby, who's been superb last week. Had 2 sacks. He was phenomenal last week, and yeah, even though there's some injuries on the D line with Gerald McCoy out for the rest of the year, I think they're gonna put more pressure on Roethlisberger, who didn't look very good last week. To be very honest with you, in the very first half, he was great in the second half, but it was very rare, big explosive plays. He was just eating up the defensive line. But it was just week one. You can say whatever you want to say about week one, but Jacksonville Jaguars won week one last year and still haven't won a game until now.
I see you, Daniel, taking that last little shot in. You see how uncomfortable he was going against his own team? It's not as easy as it looks. Hey, Phil, tell me about those Pittsburgh Steelers.
Steelers, and it's so funny because my mom's a diehard Steelers fan, so it's hilarious. So Pittsburgh, look, I know everybody's saying that Ben Roethlisberger's all worn down, there's nothing left, but let me
Technical difficulties. Let's try this again. Phil is traveling, so I'm going to give Daniel 1 minute to destroy his Pittsburgh Steelers.
TJ Watt, Melvin Ingram, they were great, but I don't think they have enough capabilities to go at it again this week because Derek Carr was great last week. He could move around, throw the football like he was like Patrick Mahomes. He looked superb last week, and I don't think the Steelers can defend great QBs in back-to-back weeks. It's just it's very tough for the Steelers. I think defensively and offensively to put up pressure against the Oakland Raiders.
All right, Phil done stepped out the car. Phil, this is your last shot, bro. Take a minute. Talk bad about those dang Raiders. Actually, you're the Steelers, so do what you got to do. Yeah, Phil's not working out too well. All right, guys, thank you for your time. Daniel, let the people know where they can find you.
Thank you guys. You can find me on Facebook on NFL Greatest Debate Room. We're talking a lot about football season, and we're just getting started. Let's go. Let's go Raiders, I think.
Okay. Phil, are you there? Phil,
yeah, I'm here.
All right. Hey, let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, I'm here.
Let the people know where they can find you.
Phil Jones NFL on Twitter, unfilteredtruth.com.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. We got a Monday night matchup while I'm the dark guy in the back with the lights so low. You know, Sunday night, we have the 3-0 against Baltimore Kansas City Chiefs versus the 0-3 Baltimore Ravens. with Lamar Jackson, who's still being called a running back. We're going to switch it up. Kerry Johnson is going to be the Baltimore Ravens, and John Shear is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, Miss, Sir, I don't expect this to be nice. Whose home games is Baltimore's at home,
Baltimore,
right?
yeah. I wore my Kansas City red today.
So that means Kansas City gets to go first. John Shear, be as rude as possible.
Certainly. We'll just start this off with a little gunshots. I mean, fireworks, sorry. In Baltimore, I understand a little bit of fireworks. That's how they say fireworks in Baltimore, gunshots. Anyway, so you guys are what, 0-3 against us? And you just lost 3 running backs. You lost Marcus Peters, and now you expect to beat us when you've never beaten us before. And we just stomped the Browns, who are going to win your division. And you don't have a quarterback because Lamar Jackson, he's a running back. I mean, Jalen Hurts has more 300-yard passing games in 5 games in his career than Lamar Jackson does in 38 games in his career. And he only has 1 more playoff win than Jalen Hurts. So, yeah, that's your quarterback right now. And you have no wide receivers. Hollywood Brown is your receiver. You got Tyson Williams and washed up Le'Veon Bell, washed up Latavius Murray, washed up, or you had Devonta Freeman. You have all these old guys that, maybe 5-6 years ago, if those were your running backs, you'd have had the best running back, trio in the history of the NFL. But this isn't 5-6 years ago. Those guys are washed up. You got a young guy, Tyson Williams, who had 1 nice run against the Raiders. Oh, yeah, I am mentioning the Raiders. You can't beat the Raiders. You went to Las Vegas and you can't even beat the Raiders, and now you expect to come home and you're going to beat us after you've never beaten us, and you have all these injuries. I mean, I just don't understand how you can defend your Ravens. I know how much you love them, and I know how much you think Patrick Mahomes is overrated. You think Tyreek Hill's overrated and Travis Kelce's overrated. I've heard you say it over and over how much you think these Chiefs are overrated. Patrick Mahomes can't get it done. We saw it against the Bucs. I know how you feel about Patrick Mahomes being overrated. So please go on about how your Ravens are going to beat my Chiefs, because really you have no chance. So please indulge me.
Carrie, Baltimore, do what you do.
All right. Well, I understand. You feel like you have a superior team, and, I give it to you. But listen, I've got Lamar Jackson, who is the best quarterback that is the play option. So he's really the best one in the league right now. And yes, we've got a lot of weight being carried by him, but he has some really good stats. Obviously, he's MVP because, he's already won it. But in a lifetime, he has 625 completed passes, and that's just in 3 years in 1 game. That's a 64% completed pass. 69 touchdowns, only 18 interceptions in 3 years. Pretty damn good. Yes, he has 3,000 yards in running. Yes, he does. He's really good at that, but he's really good at making sure that he carries the team when they need him. He does have some great weapons to go to. He has Sammy Watkins, great player. Between Sammy and Andrews, those are going to be his primary targets anyway, so they're going to be able to take care of that. We know that he has Freeman, Murray, and Williams that can move the ball down the hill. Yes, Bell's been assigned, but he's on the practice squad right now. He's not even going to be on the game, so I'm not even worried about how old he is. Whatever. We've got, and Lamar does have a lot of things that he's carrying with this. He's coming in because he's like, one, Raiders was a fluke. I'm going to show him Raiders is a fluke. This is how I'm going to do it. And he wants to end the reign of Mr. September. Needs to be gone. So, and then, did you not watch your Chiefs play Cleveland? Did you not see them get on the right-hand side being just obliterated by the running backs and wide receivers? No, that's where Lamar's going to take it too. He's going to run over. He's going to follow what the Cleveland Browns showed. Defense, number 2 against last year against points allowed. Yeah, you're not going to get points. 10 overall in turnovers. So they're going to be able to capitalize on those turnovers that they're really good at getting.
Carrie, you did an excellent job, but now I get a funny feeling that someone's about to get rude. John Shear, you have a minute. Do what you want to do.
Well, you're shaking a little bit, so that makes me happy. It makes me smile. You said Lamar Jackson carries his team, but ask Carl Nassib how that worked out Monday night. So you're wrong there. He lost 2 fumbles, including the game winner in overtime. So laying face first on the ground in Las Vegas. So you're wrong there. Remember all the times the Chiefs were down, they were down 24-0 to the Texans in the playoffs. They came back like it was nothing. They came back against the Browns. They do this all the time. They just toy with teams, and then they come back, and whenever they feel like it, they just come out of nowhere and they beat you. I mean, look what happened last year when the Chiefs and Ravens played. It wasn't even close. And now the only excuse the Ravens got is, well, there was no fans. Okay, all right, we'll play, we'll adhere to you. We'll let you have fans this time, and we'll stomp you again, and we'll be 4-0 against you. That's all the time I need. I mean, there really isn't much else to say. So please, go on, do your thing, and then it's over.
Rude. Carrie, Baltimore Ravens are 0-3 against Kansas City Chiefs as Lamar Jackson is the starter. What makes Sunday different? And fight back. John's being rude and nasty. Get him.
Well, I mean, how can they not be cocky because they're the Chiefs? They always come back. They've got Mr. September, they've got Mr. October, Mr. November. We get it. It's Mahomes, whatever. Lamar has a chip on his shoulder the size of Baltimore, and he's going to be able to go out there and show you, listen, you can say all you want, whatever you think you need to do. My defense is going to be able to blitz and force turnovers with Mr. September, and then I am going to take the helm and capitalize on that. And Lamar is ready to end the drought with his arch nemesis, Mr. September, because it's just time for that to go away.
You have 20 more
what else
seconds.
should I say?
That no one expects that the Baltimore Ravens to win, and it's going to be that much sweeter to embarrass them on Sunday Night Football. And that secondary of the Kansas City Chiefs hasn't gotten much better. Tyron Matthew just came back from COVID, so hopefully he doesn't get people sick. And I don't know. That's actually quite nice of you, Carrie, doing an excellent job. Ladies first. Carrie, where can people find you?
Well, you can find me on Facebook, Carrie Johnson. You can find me in any of the Chiefs rooms because that's where I really belong. I'm doing John a favor tonight and helping him out. But look me up there.
I see you got to take a shot after our debate. I see how it is. You can find me Fox Sports 1340 AM on there. I write articles about the Orioles, and I write articles recapping Kelsey Nicole Nelson's interviews that she does. I'm also on Cardiac Cane on Fansided, writing about the Carolina Hurricanes. Right for Fin Fanatic, covering my Miami Dolphins on Fansided as well. And you can find me on Twitter, BlueHawks13, and then the most important thing, obviously, Sideline Sports, Tuesday nights, 8:30, and then Monday and Wednesday nights, the Sports Arena, 10 Eastern Time. You don't want to miss that either.
Carousel, 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 this the carousel. On or you off, either you're on or you're off, either you're on or you're off. Knock 'em out. Carousel, 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 this the carousel. On or you're off, either you're on or you're off, either you're on or you're off. Knock 'em out.
I'm going to have to step out of my comfort zone. And I usually represent the Tampa Bay Bucks and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Well, I'm going to have to do some double duty. I'm going to have to do something I thought I would never do. It's like sleeping with the enemy. I'll be defending the Atlanta Falcons. Please enter in Joe Carlino. I think you're muted, brother. Actually, as a Buck, I really don't want to hear you anyway.
Is it working now?
Yeah, I can hear your Buck voice. We've debated before, but this is the first time we debated on the show.
Do you like the hat? You like the hat? I've had it for a few. I've had it for a few years in the back over there, and I figured I gotta defend the enemy today. So why not bust it? I still got the salute to service one too.
All right, Joe. This is how it's gonna roll. Since I'm representing the Falcons, I'll be going first, talking about your trash ass team. I have a minute and 30. Then you have a minute and 30. Then we'll have a little bit of a retort, if you will. I'll go first, and you'll go second. Since you go home, are you ready?
Let's hear how you're going to defend the greatest organization in the world.
Let's go. You and your old ass rental car are really pissing people off. You were trash for 18 plus years. You only made the playoffs once and you lost to bum ass Eli Manning. Now, all of a sudden, you roaches crawled out of the crevices to start talking trash to everybody as if you're good. Ooh, we got Brady. Ooh, we got the GOAT. Let me tell you something. He's one hit away from being gone. And you bums just got to get everybody in free agency just to be relevant. I hate your city. I hate your team. I hate your colors. I hate your pirate booty shaking asses. You guys are not relevant. You think anybody really thinks that COVID bowl was legit? I mean, hell, Brady probably bent over or paid cash to those refs to win that damn championship. And everybody you faced, except for those soft-ass Green Bay Packers, were injured. Washington was missing people. The Saints were missing people. Hell, Drew Brees had 11 broken damn ribs. And do we need to talk about the Chiefs and the missing offensive line? Well, you know what? ATL is in the house, and we don't give a damn about you dirty-ass Pirates. Kyle Pitts is going to embarrass all of your linebacker cores, and Matt Ryan, unlike your quarterback, doesn't need to cheat to be in the Hall of Fame. Please keep sleeping on us, because last time I checked, season series is 29-27. That means we own you. You're the little boy trying to get validation from daddy. We don't fear you, and we're going to embarrass you in the 813. Hashtag F a buck.
Oh my God, that was great. That was literally great. Just help me out with one thing though, Alex. Your team literally has some of the worst losses in NFL history. You lost 48-21 to Green Bay while they were a 6th seed at home in the playoffs. You were 13-3. You lose to the Giants 24-2. You had a team, the Seahawks in the playoffs. You go up 30-28, and then you kick an onside kick with 8 seconds left. And then the next week, you go up 17-0 on the 49ers, and you blow that. And then do we need to mention the Super Bowl? Hello, 28-3. That's all we need. And then to add on to it, not only did you have a 99% in that game, you had 99% win probability against the Dallas Cowboys and their nauseating fans who nobody likes. And you blew that with an onside kick because you thought it was COVID. Then the next week, you watch Mitchell Trubisky get benched after running for 50 yards on a man coverage against you, and you blow it to Nick Foles for the second time in 3 years. And then you're going to come off a 4-12 year and say we're sleeping on you? Come on, we're the defending champs, and you guys couldn't put up a touchdown with that unicorn, Kyle Pitts, in week 1. The spread is 12.5 right now. Tampa's going to have that covered by the 10-minute mark of the first quarter. Hashtag siege the day.
Oh, you think you're funny? You got jokes, huh? The little redheaded stepchild of NFC South's talking trash because all of a sudden they got that Cupid Zirconia ring. Let me tell you, punk, something. When your old Maserati rental car goes away, you're going to go back to where you belong, in the basement. And we're going to make sure you put the lotion on the skin, or you're going to get your ass whipped again. Because when your time's up and old man Brady leaves, we're going to be slapping you and just count the doubles against you. Don't sleep on the Atlanta Falcons, because we've been known to rise up. Georgia, we beat you up. Atlanta Braves, we beat you up. You don't even have an advantage in football because, as I mentioned before, we're 29-27 against you bums. The only thing making you relevant is the one reason why you got all these Patriot fans migrating from Boston down to Florida. You're not even a real franchise. Your stadium is as empty as porn stars' hearts. You're fake. You're trolling. And you got that old hat from 2002. When was the last time you were relevant other than last year before the referees helped you out? We got true fans, and we stay through the thick and the thin. When that Maserati is gone, your fan base is gone too. Rise up.
Wow, we have to go with that side of things. Well, first off, the Fire the Cannons thing has been around since 1998. When we opened up Ray J with that beautiful pirate ship, and all you guys got is a soccer ball and a giant bird that does absolutely nothing for you guys. And even better, with that giant bird, you're paying rent to the soccer team. When is the rent due on it on a Mercedes-Benz Stadium, by the way? I'm curious about when the rent's due, because nobody shows up to Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Meanwhile, we got a lot of fans in Ray J. We got the fans. We got the big nasties. We got the buckified birds. We got all these super fans that come out year in and year out because they know how great our team is. And you guys just wallow away when the game is already done. You guys just quietly go out of the stadium with 9 minutes left to go in the game. Thinking, oh, we got this. This game is done. And then you blow it. You find a way to blow it. Every year you find a game and you just do what the company says. You choke. Hashtag Bucks all day.
Hey, I think that was excellent, bro. You know how difficult it was for me to do that, man.
Dude. I can imagine. Now, Alex, I will say this straight up. That was probably one of the coolest things I've ever had to do with you, sir. I cannot thank you, Eric, the whole Sports Arena cast enough for letting me do that. I'll be honest, I thought we were actually going to do actual history on the team, because I went up and I looked all the history about John McKay and Hugh Culverhouse. I went all the way back, and I thought you were going to do the Secret Base guys with the history of the Falcons, of which that is an incredible 7-part series. If you haven't seen it, anybody who's watching, and Alex, check it out, because that thing was incredible.
Joe, let the people know where they can find you. You got to keep it rolling.
Yes, sir. You guys can follow me on Twitter at JoeCarlino14. I do write for Blogging Dirty of the Fansided Network. I'm with the previous guy, John Shear, over there, Fansided. I just joined Around the Block of the Falcons page. I'm also an editor for Around the Block Network. And I do have a podcast, Downtown Sports Network, with the Downtown Falcons. Still working around that. And I just want to say once again, to Eric, to Alex, to John, to Michael, to everyone at the Sports Arena, thank you guys so much for this opportunity. I enjoy talking sports with you guys. And Alex, I owe you a round on Sunday when Atlanta loses.
Carousel,
Yeah.
carousel,
Yeah.
carousel. This the carousel. On or you off, either you're on or you're off, either you're on or you're off.
What?
Knock 'em out. Carousel,
Yeah.
carousel,
Yeah.
carousel. This the carousel. On or you're off, either you're on or you're off, either you're on or you're off.
What?
Knock 'em out.
Before we have a conversation about a certain team in the NFC North, let me take care of my duties as the Florida Sun representative. The Denver Broncos are playing the Jacksonville Jaguars this Sunday. So why don't we get a Denver Broncos representative who has to cover the the Jacksonville Jaguars. Why I, just off the cuff, will talk and represent the Denver Broncos. Please enter Jordan Long.
Hey, Alex.
How we doing, Jordan?
I'm good.
Are you ready?
I think so. Yes, I have my information. So, yeah, I'm ready to go.
All right. Let's go. Put the timer up. He's going to need it. So, nobody wanted to bet on the Denver Broncos last week. Everybody thought the Giants were going to stomp us. We get rid of Drew Lock's bum ass, and then all of a sudden Teddy Bridgewater leads us to a W. So now we get the powder puffs of the Jacksonville Jaguars to just beat up and smack around like Prince did to Vanity. I mean, is your coach going to stick around for the full year, or is he going to get that USC job? Is Sunshine going to cut his hair, or is he going to stay mediocre because he just looks so good against Houston? Our defense is going to pick him off bit by bit. Oh, and by the way, can you say hi to James Robinson for me? His starting title got picked off by Carlos Hyde. So we already got some infractions inside of the organization. I mean, really, it's a good thing that Jerry Jeudy did go down, because if he was still playing in the game, we would run and pass all over you. Your offensive line is trash. Your defensive line can't stop anybody. Just ask Melvin Ingram and Philip Lindsay. Hell, if it wasn't for the turnovers, it could have been 48 or 37 versus 21. I mean, you Jacksonville Jaguars have to be the saddest thing since Joe Biden being elected president. You guys are sorry, pathetic, and the best thing about Florida is that it's a 3-day vacation from getting away from Denver. I mean, hell, ever since Teddy came to town, things have been right. Vic Fangio is going to get a contract extension, and we get to see Urban Meyer lose his damn mind because he's out of touch and out of place in this position. You don't deserve to have a franchise. You do a better job having your AEW wrestlers on the football field. You bunch of bums.
Well, I will say, yes, we can squash the USC rumors for Urban Meyer. It's been one game. One game. That is not enough to say, hey, let's go ahead and get rid of him. No, you don't do that. And I don't think he's really meant to go into the college game yet. Yes, we know he did in college, 187-32. But the fact of the matter is there were so many mistakes on the field. And I know we can't, blame Trevor Lawrence, but 6 drop balls that's not on him. You look at the yards he passed for, 332. There is still a young core out there. You have Laviska Shenault, which might be one of the faster receivers in this game. We don't know that yet because he hasn't been able to shine since he hasn't had the quarterback. I think Trevor Lawrence is that quarterback. As for the Denver Broncos, come on, you lost one of your best players, Jerry Jeudy. I'm not worried about that because that defense is going to have to end up covering Tim Patrick and Noah Fant. They're young. Teddy Bridgewater, yes, he is a pretty good quarterback, but he's steady. He can't throw the ball 5 to 10 yards down the field. He can't throw the long ball. I guarantee you if they throw 5 to 10 yards downfield, Jacksonville's going to be ready for him.
Okay, here's my rebuttal. After Sunday, Von Miller is going to make sure that Trevor Lawrence drinks more chocolate milk. Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon are going to run the ball down your throat. But something tells me that you Florida boys like things like that. The spotted kitty cats are just as bad as those Cleveland Browns and all those other teams that have been under 500 for so long. We're waiting for you to go to London because you don't belong in America. Denver is pride country, and we love our team in Denver. Can you guys sell out a stadium in Jacksonville? What is that, Duval County? Aren't you guys the most dangerous place to live? And you wonder why Urban Meyer doesn't want to be there. You guys don't deserve a franchise. You guys are trash. You know what? We're going to giddy up all over that ass on Sunday.
Well, okay. Look at the weather in Jacksonville. It's a lot better than Denver. It does not snow. You are also going from West Coast to East Coast, an 11 o'clock kickoff, which, by the way, the Broncos don't do very well in. They usually have, 2 o'clock games, at least local time and mountain time, which they're better than. Plus, you have to realize that Robbie Derby is out. You're going to put Patrick Surtain, the rookie. He got schooled a little bit last week. Plus, who is Teddy Bridgewater going to throw to? Jerry Jeudy was the best player out there on Sunday, and now he's gone. Melvin Gordon got going, but how are you going to stop him? It's going to be an interesting game in Jacksonville, especially since Denver doesn't play very well in the East Coast.
All right. Now, Jordan, do me a favor and let the people know where they can find you and what you do. This is your moment.
I have a blog that I write Mondays through Fridays, and that's at sports-scoop.com, and you can find me on Twitter at SportsScoop1.
All right. Now, he is the Denver Bronco. I'm the Jaguar. I think you did a pretty good job defending it, but now you know that once you learn about the other team, it expands your knowledge of the NFL. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Let's talk about Chicago. Let's talk about this elephant in the room. Do I have a Chicago representative?
What's up, Alex?
What's up, Eddie B? I'm going to get greedy. Is Travis in? Is Travis here? Travis here? No? Eddie, floor is yours. Hey, speak on it.
You know, everybody wants me to come on here and be so upset with how this week went, and that's just not the case, right? You know, week one, it was pretty bad. There's no denying it. But a lot of the things that I had issue with aren't going to be the same that I know a lot of other people had issue with. For one, my biggest issue isn't even on the offensive side of the ball. It's on the defense. And there's countless things you can point at. Eddie Jackson, Tayshaun Gibson just not touching a guy when he's laying on the ground. Ridiculous. Those two guys have enough experience. They should never do that. That blown coverage with three defenders standing behind Cooper Kupp as he runs into the end zone. There's so much wrong with this defense that it's hard to be positive about it. But because I am so positive about the offense, even with the few things that I didn't like this week, I will give the Bears this. It was Sean Desai's first game calling plays as a defensive coordinator in the NFL. The Rams, pretty talented offense, right? The biggest issue, though, is that this aging defense is in this position because Ryan Pace hasn't really helped anything on the defense in about 2 or 3 years since he got there. So he built this defense up 2-3 years ago. It was the best in the league, and now they were deteriorating last year. My only hope is that they can pull together a little bit faster than that offensive line for the Bears did last year, because the offensive line started off horrible, was pretty serviceable by the end of the year. And speaking of the offensive line looked pretty good again this year, which was a big concern for me and a lot of other Bears fans going into this season. My two biggest issues with the offense, though, were Justin Fields getting the first pass of the game and then a lack of adjustment. Now, look, I'm wearing a Fields jersey, right? I'm a Justin Fields guy. This is not me not liking Justin Fields. I jumped as high when he scored his touchdown as I did when the Bears drafted him earlier this year. But you come out, you have a kick return like that from Khalil Herbert, who's a great addition to the team, by the way. You drive, Montgomery runs a 42-yard run. You're in great field position, and then you trot out Justin Fields to make the first pass. I'm not saying Andy Dalton doesn't throw an interception on that drive if that doesn't happen, but it doesn't help that the team's rolling and clicking so well, and then you switch the quarterback up at the last second. It doesn't make sense to me. The second thing I had an issue with was just that lack of adjustment. They came in wanting to throw short, and it makes sense, right? The Rams defense, their defensive backs, great. Defensive pressure from the front, amazing. Best in the league in many areas, and they were the best defense in the league last year, right? It makes sense you'd want to throw short, but the Rams were ready for it. Allen Robinson was double and triple teamed all day. At some point, you've got to start trying to stretch the field out, and that just never happened. I will say, though, the one thing, aside from Khalil Herbert, that I absolutely loved this week was the commitment to the run. And I already talked about Montgomery's huge run to start this game off. He looked great all game, averaged about 6 yards per carry by the time it was all said and done. I'm still hopeful that maybe they can sneak into the playoffs this year.
Eddie, let the people know where they can find you, brother.
Yeah, I'm part of the Big Dudes in the Trenches podcast. You can find us anywhere podcasts are. Just search Big Dudes in the Trenches. On Twitter, go to BDT Football or at BDT Football, and you can check out bdtfootball.com. We put some blogs up there, have links to our all of our podcasts, and of course, we're doing a big bracket looking through all the Heisman winners in the history of the Heisman Trophy. So go check and vote on Twitter and listen to the podcast, see how it turns out.
Carousel. Yeah. Carousel. Carousel, this the carousel. On or you off, either you're on or you're off, either you're on or you're off. Knock 'em out. Carousel. Carousel. Carousel, this the carousel. On or you're off, either you're on or you're off, either you're on or you're off. Knock 'em out.
Before our last debate, I have to touch about the Thursday night football, but I would need someone on the Washington football team's bandwagon to talk about it. So I went out and got a friend. Coach.
What's going on, Alex? What's going on?
What's good? Hey, thank you for jumping on the carousel. Hey, take a minute and a half and tell the people how Washington football team is going to destroy New York, who you cover, and how they can find you. Give them the whole recipe.
Absolutely. It's a rainy day at FedEx. Feed the ball to Antonio Gibson. Give him 30 carries in this game. Take advantage of this terrible offensive line that the Giants possess. Taylor Heineke, just do your thing. You're a confident guy. You're an engineering major. You're gonna do your thing like you did against the Chargers. Just throw that ball out like you do. You don't avoid the sacks. And secondary, you're just gonna have to come out to play. We ain't playing Mike Will or Keenan Allen this week. Ball up Shepard. Ball up Galladay. But feed that ball to Antonio Gibson. It's a cold, rainy day in FedEx. Feed the ball to Antonio Gibson. Get pressure on Daniel Stephen Jones III immediately. He is 4-0 against us. He will be 4-1 tonight. There's no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. He's gonna win. He could be 5-0. He will not be 5-0. This man will go 4-1 against his Washington football team. There is no way. Ball him up. Let's go back to our offense and just win this football game and get rested up 10 days and get ready for Buffalo.
Real talk, real talk. Hey, Coach, let the people know where they can find you, brother.
Yes. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Couch Coach Live. Check out the podcast anywhere you get your podcast. Spotify, Apple, wherever you guys podcast, we're there. Then I'm one half of the Washington Football Guys podcast. Check us out every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Right on, right on. Now, let's see here. Do we have time for one more? Eric, jump in real quick. Let me know. We got time for one more, or are we done? We good?
Technical difficulties, as always. You know how we do. Sir, it's 8 o'clock. The game's getting ready to start. NFC East matchup. Our last debate, they have not shown up yet.
Then you know what? We'll just have to save that because we know that's going to be gold. They don't like each other.
Yes,
so,
that's very true.
Special clip with that. If you guys think you could do better than some of the people I got on my roster, you know what? Hit us up on Twitter or find us on Facebook. Carousel. Go to Fantasy and Flavors or the Sports Arena. Because if you can talk trash without cursing and you actually know your football fundamentals, hit us up. Because my roster is only growing. Carousel. Thursdays, 7 p.m. Copywritten. Don't copy me. And as you already realize, we in the field. We on social media. Blogs, reports, professionals, Eddie BW, Couch Coach, the young ones from Daniel Perquerico to the Raider fans like Phil Jones. We across the country, and the NFL's not going to stop, and neither are we. Carousel. Either you're on or you're off.
Carousel. 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 This the carousel. On or you're off. Either you're on or you're off. Either you're on or you're off. Knock 'em out. Carousel. 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 This the carousel. On or you're off. Either you're on or you're off. Either you're